Morning, everybody. Natural Easters. I know I kind of blinked in there. I was trying to clean up my camera and drinking my coffee. It's very, very early, about 3 a.m. I went to bed really, really early and I got some work that I didn't finish up last week to get off my plate. Plus, I do my Bible study and I'm working on a book right now, finishing up a book, prayerfully. But I'm doing my Bible studies in the mornings now and flipping to my podcast to also do that in the morning. Now that I don't have a co host anymore, I'm doing that in the morning. But I just wanted to come on here and holler at you about some natural hair tips since I went DIY back to basics and sipping on my coffee that I love. I just love my coffee. And I just recently got, and I'll just go over that tea with you all at another time, but I just recently bought a blood tea detox tea. Um, and it's Jamaican. I don't know, it's a bad accent in it, isn't it? But anyway, just got that blood detox tea that I'm gonna start using. And it's supposed to support and help with blood pressure because we know as we get older, your arteries and your veins, in some cases, not all cases, tend to get smaller. Sometimes it's hereditary and it just comes with age. Um, and high blood pressure, a lot of women, well, especially my mom had it. My dad didn't have it that I know of, but my mother did. So just to regulate my pressure, I do certain things. I drink hawthorn tea, chamomile teas. But this is an all-in-one tea that contains hawthorn and some other things to help support, and it's been known to help support pressure. Those of you that are on medication, I don't encourage you to come off your medication, okay? I encourage you to use the tea in combination with your medication, all right? So this morning, I had decided that I was going to do my Indian clay, bentonite clay, aztec clay. Love that. And I blended it in my mixer with some nice warm water. I kind of made it a little smoother than I normally do. And I put a little of my oil in it to help with the smoothness. And I'm going to take this clay and, of course, use it as a mask. Now, sometimes I make my own mask with different herbs that I use along with banana, avocado, which I could have done this time, but I'm not really feeling it. It just depends on how I feel about. I know how it makes my hair turn out, and I like the way the clay does, but I don't use the clay all the time because sometimes the clay tends to manipulate my natural curls sometimes. So I don't use the clay all the time. Um, but just to let you know, some of the holy grails, so to speak, that I use for my hair are the Shea Moisture. And I don't use a lot of Shea Moisture products, but this product from Shea Moisture I really like. It's the Bond Repair Mask. And I usually use the Bond Repair Mask. You say, you don't use all DIYs? No, I don't. But I do mix this with my DIYs. So if I make a mask out of my avocado and banana and my cocoa powder and cayenne pepper and different ingredients that I put in my mask, almond powder and fenugreek in my mask, I will do half and half. I will do half of the shea butter mask, which is for bond repairs, and half of that, half of mine, And then I will follow up with the when I do my wash and goes, I follow up with the leave-in conditioner mask, which I love the way this my hair responds to it. And I also on my ends do or all over my hair really. I do the curl activator shrink defense, which basically helps my hair from the drying out. And I've been getting a lot of dry dry situations lately. Okay, if I do a deep conditioner, I could deep condition again with the banana and avocado deep conditioner. But if I don't want to do that, then I do the Bond Repair deep conditioner with Shea Moisture, where I put it on after I've washed my hair, and I sit up under a heat cap, and I have my own heat cap that I sit up under for the deep conditioner. I just reordered coffee's so good. I just reordered um, my cocoa custard from Coconuts. I love this stuff. I was running low, and this time I was determined not to run out and have to wait on it to come again. And this is worth the dollar. I use this on my hair regularly, protective styles, and I love it because it helps with breakage. Those of you that are looking for length retention. And when I detangle my hair, when I wash my hair, I use her growth sauce. This stuff right here, you probably can't see the name, but it's called, yeah, growth sauce. I put this on my hair when it is wet, along with my body butter, and it helps to detangle the ends. I'm trying out something new because I was like, what can I try new from her product line? And I'm trying out her In Repair butter. And I usually use my body butter, and her In Repair butter looks a lot like my body butter. But there are a couple of things that she uses in hers that I don't use in mine's. Mafura butter. I've used murmura butter before, I think. I use castor oil. Kapuka butter, I have never used that. Pomegranate oil, I don't think I use that, but I do have lemongrass oil, lavender oil, of course shea butter oil, and other oils, cocoa butter and stuff like that in mine. So hers seems to be a little oilier and it has a different smell because of the lemongrass. And I'm going to use this on my ends this time when I do my hair, as opposed to my body butter. To just check it out and see how effective it is on my ends. Okay, so the mask that I'm using is just a little bit of my mixed oils, rosemary, lavender, and that kind of thing, with my clay. And I just put your water in first. Now, if you're going to use a bullet or a blender with this clay, my suggestion is that you put the water in first and make sure it's warm. The warmer it is, the easier it is to mix. Add a teaspoon at a time until it gets to the consistency that you want. Okay, and mine's is like pancake batter. Because sometimes I notice that I tend to use, and I'm going to start with this side first, a little too much powder when I'm doing mine. So just coming over here, and I don't have my water that I usually use to put this in. And you can do it with the water, but I just trimmed my ends or dusted my ends. So I should be pretty good on the tangling because I combed my hair out yesterday. And when I say comb, I mostly finger detangle. And so it should be okay with, and it is, because I just, like I said, I trimmed my ends or dusted my ends. And trimming and dusting, I don't cut off a lot of hair, but when you trim and you dust your ends, it helps the detangling by allowing the dead hair to slide out easier. It's the same thing when you keep your hair moist, when you moisturize your hair. So I'm going to separate that piece. I actually need to buy some more clamps because at one time I had a bunch of clamps and now I can't find my clamps. I don't know where my clamps. I'm down to like 3 clamps. I don't I don't know where they go. Oh, I don't know. I put them down. I don't know. So here I'm gonna, this is really creamy. I like the way it is. I'm gonna start with the root because one of the things about the clay mask, the clay detoxes, and you could also do this mask with apple cider vinegar. A lot of ladies have done that. I've seen that done. I've used the apple cider vinegar. I don't like the apple cider vinegar as much as I just like the plain old, because you have to remember apple cider vinegar is going to have a little bit of a smell. And if I'm going to put it on my face, I don't care for the apple cider vinegar if I'm going to put it on my face. And then the next thing is my ends. And this is really spreading really nicely because I put a little oil in it. And it actually spreads better with the oil. And I just put, I think, about 3. And my oil has, that particular oil has cayenne pepper in it and some other things in it. But here I'm just making sure that it covers. And here I'm just going to kind of twist this a little bit because I've gotten to the point where I think it's best to initially wash my hair in twist. And the reason why is because it helps with the tangling process, the detangling process. Once I get to a point where I have to wash it out, it really helps me with the detangling. So here you can see that, of course, my hair is really benefiting um, from the trim, from the trims. And I initially started kind of trimming my hair a little bit, dusting. When I say trim, I don't mean cut. I don't mean 1 to 2 inches of my hair. I don't trim my hair like the beautician. I just dust my ends. And I don't care what the beautician says or if any beautician, because a lot of beauticians, I just talked to my friend yesterday over the phone and she has beautiful hair. And she was telling me how the beautician, she went to get a bob. She just wanted ordinary bob. And she told me how angry she was when she left the beautician because the beautician literally cut too much of her hair off. And now that her hair has grown back, um, and I at one time, you know, a lot of times you can't listen to people when they try to tell you what to do with your hair, especially if you have healthy, pretty much long hair. I remember I listened to, I think my sister-in-law one time was telling me about my hair, and she was saying, "Well, Mom and I were saying maybe you could get it in a cut in a style or something about my hair." And so I listened to that information, and I went, me and my silly self, and I cut my hair. I didn't even go to the beautician. I cut it myself. um, trying to get some kind of style or whatever. And even my husband at the time, I think we had just gotten married or whatever. And my husband at the time told me, you shouldn't have listened to that. My husband even told me that that was, bad advice, blah, blah, blah. And then I think my prep partner at the time told me, because back then, we had prep partners at the time, told me, she said, people can be jealous. But me and my silly self, I didn't think anything of it. I'm thinking to myself, why would you even be like jealous? Do this right here. This might help it with the slip factor. It look like this right here is not trying to cooperate. I'm thinking to myself, jealous is to me, jealousy is a pure waste of time. Because first of all, whatever you're jealous of, uh, you're never going to have that if you're jealous of it. That's like a little bit of a spiritual principle. And I've had people, and I know you have too, probably, so jealous. Even my business, I've had people so jealous of the business and the things that we've done with the business. Instead of them getting with us to kind of work with us and getting with me and learning what we know and stuff like that, they try to go out and do what we're doing without even knowing how we're doing it. Like, you don't know how we're doing it. Like, I told one girl one time, I told her, I said, and I even gave her the prayer. I told her, I said, I prayed this prayer, which I had a mountain of fire prayer. And I'm telling you, a lot of the things that are going on in our business today are a result of that particular prayer. A lot of things in that prayer have come to pass, such as being able to help other people. That was a part of that prayer. And a lot of that has come to pass. It has come to pass so much, so till we've literally had to change our, and let's put it like this, my husband and I, we really have changed our associations. Some people have come back into our lives that we've known years and they've changed their associations. Some of them are divorced, remarried, they don't even have the same spouse, and we're kind of getting together, doing business together, different things like that, because whoever they had before, they couldn't even do nothing with. But we kind of switched things up. I'm very pleased with this piece right here because I remember when this piece of my hair had gotten so short, was a lot of breakage. And now it's just like catching up with everything else. And that's what you want your hair to do. You don't have to trim it to death. Just let your hair catch up. So I'm kind of working kind of as fast as I can because I like I like putting this stuff on warm. And I like feeling it warm on my roots. And it's really, really, even the back of my hair, like right back here. I remember at one time I had a breakage situation back here, and that's pretty much gone. It's supposed to be 98% chance rain today. So I've been really looking around trying to find, be honest with you guys, a halfway decent um protective style um that I can kind of wear. I don't do well with braids because it makes, I just can't stand the way it, I don't like the way it pulls. I don't like the pull from the root. I can't get with the pull from the root. If I could get with the pull from the root, and I've had braids before, I've had twist, protective styles, um, and they all do the same thing. Pull on my roots, and my roots are sore. Um, my daughter-in-law does really good with braids, but she has a different texture than me. Like, uh-oh. Come y'all didn't tell me. Put on my mouth. But my daughter-in-law and I have different textures. I'm a 4A, 4B, and my daughter-in-law is a 4B, 4C. So her hair is a lot thicker than mine. It's a little thicker than mine. And my granddaughter's hair is the same. My granddaughter's hair is thicker than mine and thicker than her mom's. Well, I would say almost, they have almost the same consistency because I've done both of their heads. It's almost the same. It really is. Oh, what was that? I found something in my head right there. I did go out yesterday. I did a big job on a lawn yesterday, and I kept my word because client had already paid for it, and I knew I had to get it done yesterday because today, like I said, it's supposed to rain. It said 90%. I hope that changes. So we're on here. This is really going on a lot smoother. And then when I finish, I'll probably wrap it up in plastic on my head. Just to show you this one side. I'm going to go ahead and tuck these ends under because they're starting to get cold. Yeah, I just did that because I don't want that. I don't like that cold feel. This on. And another thing I like about the clay, it is so natural. It won't clog. Like if you wash it out in the sink or whatever, however you know finish your wash day routine, it doesn't. I just thought about that. I haven't spilled anything, and then I just spilled something. It doesn't clog pipes or anything like that. It's really good for not clogging stuff up. Um, the clay is really good when it comes to. I probably shouldn't put that in my teeth because it's got stuff on it. But the clay is really good when it comes to damage or breakage. And what you want to do is you want to, you know how those girls go to the beautician and they sit in the chair and the beautician blows their hair. Now let me say something about that blow drying because I have to. Blow drying, regardless of what beautician, there's no, unless you have a rev hair, okay, that doesn't really intentionally pull on the hair. And then you have to comb your hair out consistently to use the rev hair. But blow drying with a brush and a comb, one or the other, pulls on the hair and it pulls on the ends more than the scalp. And your ends have been with you the longest. So let's use our common sense. When it comes to blow drying, you're going to have damage. The blow dryer is a part of that damage. I don't care what they say. You're pulling. So when they get through blow drying your hair at your ends, they're going to tell you, oh, you have split ends, blah, blah, blah. How you think you got them? From the combing and the pulling. I don't care how much they moisturize and say they washed your hair with the moisturizing shampoo 20 times. No, I don't use a brush or a comb to blow dry my hair. I went out and bought a blow dryer that doesn't require me to use a brush or a comb. I invested. Now I'm gonna tell you, it's not the blow dryer that I have was not cheap. Cost almost $400, but you get what you pay for. And if you're going to invest in your hair and do your hair yourself, you're gonna need. You're gonna stretch your hair every now and then, which I do stretch my hair. Sometimes I stretch my hair. Stretching your hair is good because if you don't stretch your hair, you're not going to be able to get the tangles out as much, and the length retention is going to be an issue for the ladies that don't like to stretch their hair. Either stretch your hair. I saw one lady stretching her hair, one young lady that used rollers, and you can do that. Now that's not going to get your roots because you still have to kind of. She still pressed her roots out, okay, but that'll protect your ends with less pulling. You didn't use a blow dryer to pull on your ends. Okay, almost done, and I'm almost at the bottom. I got plenty left. Thank God I gauged it right because sometimes I don't always gauge this stuff right. There, real good. Now one for the top. I'm going to wash my hair in these twists. And I saw a natural girl do that, and I've done it before, but I had kind of gotten away from it. Um, Washing my hair. What's this piece up here? And I call this part of my hair the critical zone. It's the part of my hair that needs the most attention. I'm trying to take it up from the sides. It's every little bit of this clay on the critical zone. More. This is like the other side. I've been keeping it. Make sure I don't have no naughty knots. And put my ends on the hair. There we go. All right, now I'm at the top zone. The tippity top. What's happening up here? Oh, okay, so there we go. So we have basically 3 sections. Um, and I used every last bit of it. I kind of been doing this so long till I've kind of gotten it down to the science of, I can take this off now. So I want to wipe my hands off. I've kind of gotten it down to the science of how much I actually need for my hair. And this, of course, if you don't put anything on your head. Now I'm getting ready to show you guys something like totally unprofessional. But I like ran out of plastic caps. And when you run out of plastic caps, you find yourself some plastic somewhere. As long as you have something on your head, and yes, this is a bag. And I just twist it in the back. And tuck it and tuck it. And that's basically, oh, that's basically what I do. And there we have it. Now I need to make a mess. I love it. Whew, Lord, I think I'm gonna definitely have to wash my combs though, because I kind of touched my combs while I was working on my hair, and I definitely have to wash my clips. And the great thing about this is hot water. It comes, it comes right off. All right. So my general routine is to like leave this on. I could put a heat cap on if I wanted to, but the heat from your head, if you're gonna sit here, like I can already feel my head getting warm. The heat that generates from your body, if you're gonna have it on for about an hour, 45 minutes, I wouldn't worry about the heat cap, because the purpose of the heat cap is to penetrate quicker. So, if you're only going to be under there for like 15 minutes or 10 minutes, like you are at the beautician, because she's trying to get you out of her chair, um, she has other clients, if she's got a line. If that's the case, like she'll get you out of her chair, start on somebody else, and that's business, okay? That's capitalism. Um, then, whatever. But if you're gonna sit there and relax like I am, I'm gonna sit here, relax, probably do a little studying, listen to some online content or whatever. I had a great Valentine's Day, even though I don't really celebrate it like that. All about love. I know the origin of Valentine's, so my husband and I do nice things, but we don't get all off into it. Every day should be a day of love. Okay, let's put not just one day out of the year. Um, I'm not that into Black History Month, but guys, even Black people don't. A lot of Black people don't know their history at all. I suggest that you get a book that I have somewhere around here. I didn't bring it out, but maybe I'll show it to you guys if I get it up next time. But it's called The Antebellum South, and it was written by a Black man. And it's hard to find because, of course, they don't want you to know your history. But it basically talks about what happened in the South during slavery and what Black people actually did after slavery. And you will find that a lot of Black people didn't even leave the South. Many of them stayed right there on plantations even when they had the opportunity to go and better their lives. It's the same thing that's going on today with Black people, especially Black women. I just have to talk about us for a minute. Sitting around having, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 kids. And white people do it too, but let's just talk about Black people. Okay? Um, and some of them even became farmers, raised sugarcane. They didn't do cotton, but a lot of them did sugarcane, and they had slaves, people that they didn't pay for labor. You, you understand what I'm saying? And I don't even want to get on Harriet Tubman, y'all hero. Okay, I'm not going to get on her right now. Because if you read that book, you'll find out how black people sold black people out for $1. And there's nothing new under the sun. So when then we get this month, and I'm like, nobody else has a month. And how long do you have? I like Raven Simone. How long do you have to be a citizen in a country to own that country and say, I am a black American? I was born an American. This appeared not even just a black American. I'm an American and proud to be. Because if it wasn't for America, I wouldn't have 3 degrees, um, a great family. America has provided for me a great education. Um, I mean, a great business. The Lord had blessed me, and I'm so glad that I was not born in Venezuela or Jamaica or certainly Nigeria. Oh my God. And I'm just praying for the Nigerian saints because in every one of these continents, you have God's people. And the saints will tell you what's really going on. They will tell you what is really going on in on their part in their place of this world. hmm So while we bashing this, that, and the other, because we getting free this and free that, consider that a blessing and be grateful. I was talking to one of my cleaners the other day, and initially she calmed down, but initially she was very upset. And and I tried to tell her, don't take it personal what these people say. Because they know that they not gonna find nobody else to do what you do. And they're nitpicking because my cleaner had gone down there and did something she probably shouldn't have done. Um, she deck scrubbed with a scrubber the floors because they were complaining about the floors, but they don't pay for us to scrub the floors. They just pay for us to mop the floors. And the floors are terrible. It's a government funded facility and the floors need to be changed out. They are terrible because I've cleaned the facility myself and I've mopped the floors myself. And these people, not only do they not appreciate what we do in the facility, they use our products, they use our mops, they use our vacuum cleaner. They have broken our mop bucket. I believe it was them. And they have broken our vacuum cleaners. This will be the third vacuum cleaner that our company will have purchased for the facility because they go in there and use our stuff. And I'm at the point where I'm going to tell our cleaner. I'm at the point where I'm going to tell our cleaner to wrap our mops up. I may call them tomorrow and tell them and take the mop with you. Because if you're not going to appreciate what we do, then don't use our stuff because you don't pay for us to deck scrub your floors. And because the cleaner spent so much time on the floors, she didn't do what she usually does. She cleaned all the bathrooms and she didn't leave the toilet lids up. Then you go into lying and say you rarely see a lid up. That's a lie. Because our policy is to leave the lid up. And because she didn't see the lid up, she accused the cleaner and sent me a video. I didn't see anything on the video, nothing but a toilet and a toilet seat, claiming that the toilet hadn't been cleaned because she was having a bad day. She was having a bad day. They they had, I think one of the sinks was busted, and she was frustrated over that. So when you're having a bad day, who do you pick on? The cleaners. The people that you said were doing such a great job. They were doing such a great job. And now all of a sudden they're terrible. So, but I have to report it. So I reported it to my cleaners, who were none to say a little upset. And I can understand why. But I told my cleaner, I said, now you know, leave that seat up. Don't put the seats down anymore. Don't do any deck scrubbing of the floors, because they don't pay for us to scrub floors. They pay for us to mop the floors. That is what we will do. Do your monthly dusting, like it says on the contract, and get out of there. Period. Don't, my cleaner had gone, she had asked the head nurse in the facility, would she go out and get some toilet brushes? Because you and I both know, if you live in a home, every now and then you have to change the toilet brush. She said they won't get, she said because they wouldn't get new toilet brushes, she went out and bought a toilet brush. Because she got tired of scrubbing the toilets with filthy toilet brushes. But you're going to say the toilet wasn't clean, and you won't even buy toilet brushes? And I told my cleaner, I said, no, use the brushes that they have. Because you've asked them for toilet brushes, and I'm not buying toilet brushes. I'm not. No more freebies, no more deck scrubbing the floor. We're not going to do that anymore. And then you turn around and look on the video, because see, they put cameras in the facility. Because when we first started cleaning, they didn't have cameras. So they put cameras in the facility now. And they're in the hallways. So they can tell if you're actually mopping the floors or whatever. But they're not in the back. So they can't tell what we do in the back of the facility. So my cleaners, she said, well, I saw them mopping the floor, and they were mopping the part that we had already worked on. You didn't work on that because it was black as I don't know what. That was, my cleaner was like, that wasn't worked on. She said, I scrubbed it. I scrubbed the floor. I saw them on the camera, and they did empty the garbages. So they had cleaned. They had been here and cleaned earlier that day. Okay. And you're complaining about this one toilet. One. See, majoring on the minor and minoring on the major. I minor on the major. I don't major on the minor. That's ridiculous. In other words, I pay attention to the major things, the little things that are major, the minor things that are major. I don't pay attention to the minor things that are not major. Mm-mm. And I told her, I said, you should not have done that. I didn't expect you to do that at all. It's great you did that, But now they're going to expect you to do that all the time. They're going to want free all the time. They got new beds in the facility and took the old beds and put them in the cafeteria, put them in the break room. How crazy is that? That is crazy. And they have so much stuff, you can't mop under anything. You have to mop around it. So God knows what's actually in there. The nurses are supposed to clean, but they're not that clean because I do two facilities, a surgery center and an OBGYN. The surgery center basically clean every time we go up in there. And they don't have hair all over the floor and filthy carpets and none of that. And then she complained they didn't vacuum the rugs, plural. Because the one rug in the back had a little bit of salt on it because they have salt outside. Well, you came through the back, you didn't get anything on the rug? That one rug, it's a mat. It's not even a rug, it's a mat. And I would usually sweep that mat. I wouldn't even vacuum it when I clean a facility. But that's when I found out the vacuum cleaner was broken. And that's when I found out that she was trying to throw our vacuum cleaner out. And I'm going to talk to corporate about it because I'm going to tell them today, look, Tracy does, the cleaner's name is Tracy, does a major job in that building. Major. And for them to complain about a toilet seat because they're having plumbing problems and they're upset about something else. And then you complain to me about the floors, and she comes down there and decks and scrubs all your floors, and you complain about one toilet seat, the seat was down, so you think we didn't clean it. Then you send me a video, and I don't see anything on the seat in the video. And then you tell me it's hard to see. What do you have, a magnifying glass? Mm-mm. No. And I told my cleaner, I said, I'm going to buy you guys another vacuum cleaner. And I'm going to let her know our vacuum cleaner has been damaged and cracked. And this is the second vacuum cleaner that we've had in the facility. I'm going to buy another we're going to get another vacuum cleaner. And I'm at the verge where I'm going to tell them, take the mops with you or hide them somewhere. Because I don't want them using our mops. They need to buy their own mops. From now on. I'm sorry, and I'm going to tell them, look, I'm telling them to take the mops. We know that they're using them because when we get there during the night to clean, there's hair all over our mops. And I'm buying mop heads twice a month, 6 at a time, to use down at the OBGYN. I'm not doing it anymore. Not after today, not after yesterday. And I told the cleaners, I said, you're not going to get any brownie points from people like that. Because she was wrong. And God will vindicate us. Nobody else is going to come in there and clean your facility 5 days a week with what you're paying. They are not going to do it. So you better stick with us. I'm like, you didn't want it to get bad like it was before. What is that supposed to mean? Bad like it was before. I think she's having a real hard time lately in that facility. But don't pick, and a lot of times that's what happens when you're in corporate America. When they think that the help, like the cleaning crew, are the last ones on the totem pole. It's a mental thing. But we're not. Mm-mm. Because the Bible says the first shall be last and the last shall be first. So if you think that we're last, we're actually first. Hmm. But we thank the Lord. We thank the Lord. And you know what I told her? I said, I told them to take photos until we see consistency. And she responded, okay, yeah, because I'm going to get you. You're not going to sit up there, and it's a shame you have to do that. Run up your phone with a bunch of unnecessary photos because you're dealing with somebody with the wrong kind of thinking. It's a shame. But I didn't mean to go on like that. But you guys can catch me on my podcast where we're talking about all about money this week. And I had said I was going to do this, but I am going to do the podcast today at an earlier time. It'll be announced on Facebook. I'm not sure what time I'm going to put it out there. If you miss it, you're in church or whatever the situation might be. If it rains like it's supposed to rain here, I probably won't make church. But if you make church, because the church that I attend is like way up the highway in a whole nother town. It's not really time wise, it's not that far away, but if it's raining, going down that highway, I don't know if I'm gonna I like driving to it on a sunny day. Um, but anyway, it's not a neighborhood church. So you guys will see me on the podcast all about money. My second series is probably going to be, as the Lord allows, the seven cultural mountains, which I love to teach on the seven cultural mountains because it's all about what we're going through today in today's society. I started teaching on SIP systems and the seven cultural mountains way back in 2012. And then off and on during the years, a lot of people didn't catch the concept. Um, I would say they didn't catch the concept. And I'm glad that God opened up that door for me because it's helped me later on in life. It's really helped me, and it helped me stand on the platforms that I stand on today. Um, as far as faith is concerned, the government, and different things like that, the church itself, and where we are as kingdom believers. And I'll be teaching a third series that the Lord just brought me into, and it's called Why Did God Choose Kingdom? And it's been really blessing me. So I really wanted to bless somebody. But it's why did God choose kingdom? Because God could have chose to do an empire where they have, of course, and kingdoms have them too, but dynasties where one family is under power and under control and that kind of stuff. Or an empire is when you have, of course, an emperor or an empress, And that person appoints governors, associate pastors, campus pastors over different realms or different territories, not necessarily in that particular church, but when I say governors, they're not appointed inside where that emperor is, but they're appointed outside. And the purpose, like Nehemiah was a governor, they're appointed as governors, but he was in the empire under an emperor, okay, an empire rule. So these empires create these governors, and the purpose of these governors is to carry on the influence of the emperor. And they do things as they're supposed to do things as the emperor says it should be done. Hmm. But a kingdom is is very much different. Kingdom has kingdom has one sovereign ruler, king or a queen. Okay, citizens and subjects. Yep. But an empire is a rule of governors, citizens within the governor's rule, and the emperor over the governors. Sound like something to you? Pretty much like a lot of pastors. And I got this one, the concept, um, got the idea to study it from Bishop Gator. So nothing's done on a rock. So he mentioned it, and I went into studying it because I wanted to know. He said most pastors today are leading their churches like an empire instead of a kingdom. And I had never heard anyone say that before, personally myself. So I went and I looked it up. And sure enough, they are. When I think of a lot of the church organizations that I've been a part of, it was very much an empire rule. And I'm going to get into it a little deeper um, in the book because it is the last chapter of the book that the Lord had me to that I started years ago called Kings for a Kingdom. And I'm actually writing the book myself. I have no ghost writers. A lot of times when people say they're writing a book, they have tons and tons of help, ghost writers. This is why they can chunk these books out so fast. But now that we have AI and different things like that, it makes it a lot easier. It's real easy to publish because you can self-publish your book and sell it on Amazon. I mean, there's so many things you can do these days with a book. I do a lot of teaching books. My book, School of Prophets, was a teaching book on the personality of individuals that are prophets. You a lot of times can know that a prophet is a prophet simply by their personality. I'll tell you one thing about a prophet. Prophets notice everything. A prophet can be walking and a piece of paper will be down there. A prophet's going to see that paper and want to pick it up. Whereas your average person will just walk right past it, like they don't even see it. But a prophet is like, I have to. And some of us do. Some of us don't, but some of us do. But you're going to see it. And you're going to say, that I need to pick that up. Because prophets like order. Like right now, I need to get this office together because I'm not going to deal with this. You understand? There's two people in this office. One person is not a prophet. So one person is just gonna throw stuff everywhere. Every now and then I come in, I organize, I fold, I throw stuff away. Like the other day, I threw away a bunch of papers and different things like that. Why? Because prophets don't like clutter. They just don't like clutter. All right, guys. So I'm getting ready to go. and continue my journey here, get my hair together on this natural hair journey. I'm thinking about really wearing my hair like in a doing bangs. Now, of course, my hair is like down to here in the front, so they're not. My hair is not cut for bangs. But what I usually do is I use my rod rollers and just roll the. I probably do the white ones, and I roll the tips so that I can do that. Um, Bang my hair in the front. I just roll it into a tighter curl on the ends. The sides and the back, I don't, but the front, I do, just to change it up a little bit. And it usually falls like at my eyebrows when I roll it. And that's probably what I'm gonna do for this week with my hair. Try to change it up a little bit. Like I said, I'm looking for a protective style to wear for a while, so I don't have to wash it as often. I don't have to do weekly washes, maybe every 2 weeks, something like that. But I will, but even though it's in a protective style, doesn't mean you don't oil your scalp, doesn't mean you don't nurture your scalp, doesn't mean I'm not going to massage my scalp, okay? Because when I come out of the protective style, I want to still have hair on my head, all right? So remember, it's DIY, back to basics, all about that natural hair, and you can do this. Love you guys, and I'll see you on the next journey.